Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Daily Brief. Woohoo! Party! It is Thursday, and are we live on YouTube? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Yeah, that's good to see. Hello, CCP Tim here. Hey, Tim. Nice to see you. Tim's been sending me a whole bunch of really cool videos on the demise of the U.S. dollar. And I totally agree with you, Tim. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The Americans have completely taken advantage of the rest of the world to deal with their demographic situation and horrible, bank bailouts, and nobody goes to prison. So, just right off the bat, Tim, I will wholeheartedly agree with you. It's not really a question of good currencies versus bad currencies. It's more just, whose poop stinks the least here. They're all bad. So I just saw Tim there over on YouTube. I thought I'd just mention that off the bat. And thanks for those video pieces that you've been sending me, sir. I appreciate that. And actually, it's interesting, Tim. I think on balance, the situation calming down in Hong Kong a little bit, I think, is inject a little bit of pause into the market and sort of a sigh of relief. We're getting some friendly econs today, sigh of relief, and the Chinese and the Americans have announced that their trade talks are back on. So a bunch of sort of sigh of reliefs out of that region of the world. So it's just interesting that I see you there, Tim. And thank you for your continued participation on the site and continuing to educate the old man Beamish on the ways of China and currencies. But anyway, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, and the cool part about Thursday is we've got the baby powder report here today. Julian's on the call. How you doing this morning, Julian?
I'm doing great. Hello, everybody.
Awesome. Actually, man, you're sounding crystal clear
excited to talk about the Thai baht a little bit.
Yep, Thai baht.
Other exciting things.
Gold. Thai.
Thai baht.
So lots of exciting stuff, I like Julian's unique approach. We'll take a look at RSI studies and all that kind of fun stuff. So we've got that to look forward to today. As always, of course, we've got the mayor of Albuquerque driving the bus here, long distance. Kevin, how you doing this morning, sir?
Doing great, thanks. Recently, I've been actually promoted to the Duke of Albuquerque.
Okay. Screw these civil servant jobs. They're for losers. All right, we now have official title, and we've been wondering, and now I've got to put like a crown on the Kavarkinator picture. I still got to go find that. Maybe I'll find it while Julian's doing his report. So we'll call you Sir Kavarkinator now, huh? Anyway, so good morning, sir. Thank you for your continued participation. Actually, Kevin's been helping me out a lot. Probably not really open to current TRI students, but I suppose if you are a silver member on TRI, it's only fair that we make it open to you. Kevin and I have been working away on a raffle that we're doing on YouTube when we do the daily brief recaps for a seat in the level 1 program. By all means, if there are silver site members who would like to maybe consider participating in that raffle, be sure to check out the daily brief recap video. We've been sort of running a list, and Kevin's been putting together a list to have a raffle for a seat for this upcoming level 1 term. We've gotten quite a bit of interest in the raffle. So if you are a silver member and you want to participate in that because you'd like to participate in the raffle, feel free to not note your name down there on YouTube. That raffle is going to be this Sunday. Grim's going to come on. Hopefully he can still. It's going to come on the Broiler Chicken Show. No, if you're in the level 3 program, it's not open for you anymore, Josh. Sorry. But on this weekend, this Sunday's Broiler Chicken Show, we'll have the big draw. So just an FYI before we get going in earnest here this morning. I guess what are we sort of thinking here, Julian? Should we just jump right into you, or do you want me to do a little bit of market overview first? What are you thinking?
Why? I always love when you do a little bit of a market overview first.
Okay.
So why don't you start with that?
All right, sounds good. And I have to say, very pleased with the TRI team. We're working very closely in collaboration. We actually have we might have sort of a flood of new people coming in. We're in the process of inking a new relationship with the people at Bravado Trading, Collins Group. So, if you do see a flood of people coming in from that direction, just extend a nice PMA, warm welcome to them. But TRI is sort of firing on all cylinders here, so I'm feeling really proud of the team. Stuart comes on Mondays and gives us sort of an update of what has been happening algo-wise and site-wise, and I have to say I'm really, really pleased to see Stuart's just banging away. And as I've sort of said, I'm using the dashboard as sort of our tell that TRI is working its way through the developer cycle. What we should see over the next few months is the signaling systems start to generate signals and stuff. So we're working away on that, so be mindful of that going forward. And of course, like I said, we've got the new school term coming up. I think we have a really cool team we're putting together of TAs, and actually shout out to Kyran, I think I pronounce his name. I always butcher people's names, but he's actually interested in joining the instructor pool. So he's going to be working with me through the level 2 program to sort of get up to speed on that. And of course, Marat here, I think, who's on the call, has asked to be the TA for the level 1 program. Joshua's expressed interest in participating in the TA program. Of course, Zach and James are floating around. So we've got a very, very robust team here at TRI. And actually, Ryan just joined the call here. Big shout out to everybody. I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around position sizing so that every single one of my trades on these crypto exchanges is exactly the same dollar size. I sort of put out a plea for help from the community, and I got about 5 or 6 different responses from various site members with different tools to help with position sizing. So thank you so much for reaching out to me with my ongoing saga of how to get these silly position sizes correct. So I really appreciate that, Ryan. I thought that was really, really nice of you to reach out to me yesterday with your tools that you use. So before we release Julian, just quick overview of what I'm seeing in the markets. We talked about this in the recap yesterday. I don't know whether I mentioned it in the daily brief, but watching US dollar index, as we always should, sort of as the sort of starting point of our market analysis, mentioned how we could potentially fractal out here, and indeed we did go through these lows this morning. So I think the sort of runaway bull train on the US dollar index has been put on pause. And I think as I sort of started off the conversation mentioning Tim there, I do believe that a lot of the US dollar uppy, sort of get me out of every risk asset, just going by T-bills, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I do believe that sort of sentiment has shifted here with Miss Lamb's overt efforts to try and calm things down in Hong Kong. Like I said the other day, I was actually touched by her heartfelt audio interview that I shared with the community. Again, I think that she's in a very, very difficult position, but it feels like Beijing has maybe just backed off a little bit on the gas pedal. The news out there was they officially killed the extradition bill, and there's a bit of calm returning to Hong Kong, and it's weird. It's like on that, plus the Chinese out of Beijing said that they're starting to talk to Washington again about trade deals and stuff. I think officially they're going to come back to the table in October. So it's really interesting how October is lining up as one hell of a event month here, and what a coincidence. That's usually what happens through Octobers. So not only do we have sort of Brexit's sort of variables, and I kind of noticed that on this sort of talk that maybe there's a bit of back and forth. And thank you so much again. Another big shout out to sort of TRI site people. One of my sort of spies on the ground in the UK actually sent me this summary from BBC News. I'll post it in the lounge in case you want to take a look at it later. Basically, what is going to happen with Brexit and all this, and if you can sort of figure out the logic behind all this, then way to go. But what I did notice, and frankly speaking, I'm not even quite sure how to interpret this. I'll just throw it in the lounge here in case you want to sort of review it. Thank you very much, ma'am. She knows who she is, who shared this with me. I was very appreciative of that. Thank you so much, ma'am. But, long and short of all this is what I noticed is this sort of the overt bearishness of both euro and British pound has backed off. That's sort of another reason why we're seeing US dollar looking a bit toppy here. And like we said, euro and British pound and all that, they make up like 30-40% of this index. So if they're feeling a little bit better, then that would explain a bit of this. The only currency I think right now that's sort of bucking that overall trend, but it's a function really I think of that whole sort of fear greed kind of conversation, is that Japanese yen. I think our fear proxies in the marketplace are all coming off here smartly, and the greed proxies, stocks and oil, are taking off like a rocket. So, and I'd sort of talked a little bit about this. Hopefully everybody, can you see the M? Like if we, I'll just try and hide this very briefly. Hopefully you can see this big M that's come in here on the Japanese yen. So I think that to a certain degree this is a really good simple proxy of the world freaking out, and the US maybe is going into contraction. The Fed's lost control of the market, and so people just panic and run into the yen. I've talked lots about yen gold. I personally think that there's a high correlation between yen gold. You can see gold is coming off a big chunk here, but I don't think that should surprise anybody. Very, very nosebleedy up top here. Maybe we need to go through a bit of sort of cleaning up there. And then, like I said just a moment ago, we had some pretty positive data come out about the U.S. economy from the services sector. And in a weird sort of way, I mean, this is, of course, exactly what Mr. Trump doesn't want. But I think that, and I don't know whether it's a function of the 1%, there's some sort of conspiracy, a plot, I don't know. But I would make the argument that the United States of America is moving more towards a service-oriented society, and moving away from manufacturing and kind of trying to outsource the manufacturing to all these, we used to call them third world nations. I don't know what we're allowed to call them these days. But, really interesting data point. As soon as this ISM non-manufacturing number came out, and it actually showed an uptick from previous reports, the whole market was just sort of like, oh, phew, okay, maybe the U.S. economy isn't going to hell in a handbasket. And, Jamie's sort of reports of recent, the 50 line is sort of that line in the sand that we really don't want to see these ISM, Institute for Supply Management, not really. We used to call it the producer price indexes, but in essence, as long as we're printing above 50, I think they feel relatively positive. And as I said, you can see non-manufacturing business activity. The services sector is actually still ramping up pretty strong here. And, our level 1 program talking about, demographics, the baby boomers are in retirement now. They're really going to be demanding services to service them in their retirement. So it doesn't really surprise me to see this kind of information. But I think it's just an affirmation that, okay, well, it isn't all going to hell in a handbasket. So on balance, I'm feeling like risk on is back on the table. It's interesting to watch crude oil now. I actually think crude could have a bit of a rally here. If we look at the charts, it's interesting. Little algos are going back to uber bull. Hopefully you can see W's coming in. If we zoom out on this crude oil chart, we see that we could go through a period where energy prices actually have to go up here. So be forewarned. You can see we're coming into one hell of a contraction here. Consolidation, contraction in price, and it feels like the energy wants to be released to the upside. Only time will tell, and there's no real trade setup here per se. I was going through the oil stocks this morning. Didn't really see anything that really jumped out at me just yet. But I would simply say that, and we've talked about this lots in the past, that, if you have oil moving up in earnest and you can see the little W's trying to come in, bull flags, AB equals CDs, that kind of stuff, it's going to make it very tough for the metals to continue their rampage here. And so as we sort of talked about just a moment ago, gold market, I don't necessarily know whether we've broken down per se. These gold futures actually did print a new contract high there, 1566.20. This old high was 1565. I'm actually thinking, and I don't know whether you guys have ever seen my billiard ball theory, but I'm actually thinking that this gold market's going to look like some sort of big-ass fractal here when it's all said and done. Be interesting to hear what Julian's take is on the gold market right now. We've talked about this lots. I mean, you got no business going in and buying the yellow stuff up here. I mean, gee whiz, we've had one hell of a rally. Probably the first tell for me is how 38.2 acts. Notice there's a big gap in the charts there. So, maybe we can come down and just consolidate against these lows and do a fractal top here. As we said, that is a new high, so we should at the very least expect some sort of test of those highs over the near term, maybe next month or so. And I think when we looked at our seasonality chart through the level 2 review program yesterday, kind of jumped out at me as well. That where the hell do I have it? Gold market usually is relatively well bid through like sort of September, and then as we sort of head into the fall, we usually have to have a bit of a pullback here. So it shouldn't surprise us that if a top does come in here on the gold over the next month or so, that we have to go through a bit of a consolidation period, probably like through the middle of November. All in all, does it make sense for this thing to pull back, through September, October, maybe into mid-November, clean itself up for its next run-up if there is another run-up? I think that's perfectly logical. One thing I would caution about the metals right now, I know a lot of people are like, moon, but I actually look at this chart from a longer term perspective, and I was reviewing this with a site member this morning, and I'm a little bit leery about this being a whole new bull market, rah. I could see us perk up, Jupiter, Saturn cross, all that kind of stuff. One more push higher here, maybe to start forming divergences and stuff. But I would say I'm still looking at the gold market like these counter trend rallies are going to literally just take the price up into levels that the institutions want to actually be short from. So, just be cognizant of that sort of big picture stuff. With the stock market moving higher, we've talked about this sort of 45-day, 50-day cycle. Next sort of pivot I'm thinking is mid to the end of September. This was supposed to be a bottoming window for this cycle, and I think that's what's happened. I talked recently about how if I was going to short, I wanted to get short off of the reload zones, gap fills, wicks and stuff. So here we are up top. Now it's just a question for me of just waiting a week or two. Let this cycle peak come in here. I don't know. Obviously, she's got a head of steam behind her. But if I start getting things like double tops, M's, inside bars, fractals and stuff like that, now I can officially start seriously looking at buying put options here. So that's sort of stock market. While this is moving up here, some of our names are perking up. I don't know whether we can go into it too much here time-wise. We're running out of time. But nice to see we're getting some nice uppies on some of our positions that we just put on. And some of our older positions are continuing away. And of course, if we get, blow off tops here in stock market land, hopefully we can start getting some nice sell order fills. There are names on our list that are pushing to new highs. So it's just slowly work our book and just let the market, if we enjoy a nice little stock market rally here, hopefully we can get some more fills on the sell side. The only thing I'll just finish off with, Bitcoin. I posted lots of these kind of charts in the lounge and stuff. This is a really important level for Bitcoin here. I'm sure Julian's going to dig deep into this. All I'll just say is we are up against a key resistance line, trend line, yada yada. I still would like to see W's on the other side of this trend line for me to get too bullish. I'm feeling in the short term right now we've got a bit of a diamond pattern working here. Interesting conversation about correlation. Is Bitcoin risk on, risk off? Frankly speaking, I don't, it doesn't really seem to fall into either camp right now. So it's sort of off on its own spin. And of course, we've got big fundamental events coming up with like Binance Coin and all that kind of stuff in the not too distant future. So, I'm going to simply stick to my sort of thinking that there was a half decent little sort of, actually that's probably not the best chart. It was a half decent little long setup, and some of the people on the site took it on things like Ethereum. I don't know whether anybody on the site took the Bitcoin long, rallying up into 50% rules. So really, I actually consider this more of like a profit-taking location than a place for a new trade. So that's sort of my thinking there with regard to Bitcoin. Okay, that's sort of my overview of what I'm seeing in the market. Julian, are you ready to rock this thing?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I think that was a good overview. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Can you screen share? And let's make sure that screen share all looks nice and solid. Where are you here? Not there. Over here. Where is Julian? There's Julian. Okay, so right now when I click on you, I see. What do I see? I see your logo. You're pointing at all the wonderful people on the site.
You don't see my screen?
Well, maybe I got to turn things off. Hold on a second here. Still trying to figure out how all this works. All right, so we'll click on presentation from Julian. What are you guys seeing in the Hangout? Are you seeing Julian's presentation, or are you seeing his?
I'm presenting.
Julian's icon.
Yeah, we're just seeing your.
Let me turn it off and try again.
All right. Maybe I'll turn my presentation off, so maybe that clears the way for him.
How about now?
All right, we see S&P 500 chart. Yay! All right, so I will put that on the OBS screen. There it is. You've got. Whoop, let's get rid of this stuff. Okay, so I see a whole bunch of people listed on the side of your page. I don't know if you can minimize all the participants in the Hangout. Yeah, so can you maybe just click on the little people icon thing up top just to put that away? Nope, so okay, it's not that one. But anyway, it may be what you need to do is click on your presentation. There you go. So now,
are they all gone?
No, they're still there. I'm not quite sure how to get rid of that.
Oh, I'm not seeing them.
You're not seeing them? So on the YouTube page, what I see is TRI up at the top, then Andrew Milligan, and then Dan.
Oh yeah, on the YouTube page they're there.
Yeah.
How about now?
I don't know. You need to somehow maximize your screen so we don't see those icons along the right-hand side of your screen there, Julian. But if we have to show that, then so be it.
Click on the screen.
Yeah.
Click on what screen? These?
Yeah, click on your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, nope, that didn't do it. Ah, fudge. I'm not quite sure because I'm showing your screen. There's nothing I can do on my side to change that. Oh well.
You should just be able to just click outside of somewhere on the screen. That doesn't make them go away. Just outside of like right there. No. Weird.
All right. Well, everybody on YouTube, you're only going to get 2/3 of a screenshot today. Sorry, everybody.
How do other people turn it off?
I don't know. We probably should have gotten together before this to make sure.
Yeah, well we never had this problem before, right?
Yeah, well, maybe full screen?
I tried full screen. It just makes this window full screen.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me try one thing. Watch this. Let me stop presenting and present in my entire screen.
Three dots in the bottom right corner.
Yeah. Okay, how about now?
No, still got the names on the sides.
They minimized though. They got smaller.
What happens if I click full screen? Or maybe change layout. Maybe that's it.
How about now?
Spotlight? Maybe. Hey, there we go. Yeah, that's better. All right, so it looks like we fixed it.
You got it? It's good? So
All right,
it's on your end.
Go for it.
Okay, so the big thing that I totally did not expect to happen was the S&P breaking out today. I mean, this is like, it did a mini breakout in the RSI, and I was like, oh, is this a fake out, or is this an actual breakout? And I was watching this, and I'm like, you know, the crazy thing is I was looking at the options market, and just so you guys know, don't take trades based on the open interest in the options market thinking that it's not going to change from day to day. Because this chart here, this shows the open interest for expiry tomorrow. It was different 2 days ago. It was very different.
Absolutely.
It looked like OPEX was going to be 291. And I actually put a trade on because sometimes it doesn't change. But look at it now. I mean, you would never say, you know, OPEX is going to be 291. That's not going to be max pain. Now it's, you know, it's already blown past 295, which is where, you know, there's barely any options on the call side.
And I think we talked about this really good lesson for everybody. First week back after sort of August break, really, really good. You know, for us to let the dust settle. The pros are coming back to their workstations. You know, we should be watching things like the monthly expiry too. You know, weeklies. You know, definitely take that data with a grain of salt. But you know, long and short of it here is, I think you're absolutely right. You know, the pros came back to work yesterday and Tuesday, and they're doing a lot of position squaring right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only thing you can be sure of is there's a wall at 300, but you know, we all kind of know that.
And so all those puts are going to expire worthless now, eh?
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they want.
It's huge. So you know, this you can see how much it moved. We moved 1.3%. It broke out completely of my daily RSI, and now we're breaking above the VIP trend line. I mean, this could be the start of a new rally.
Yeah, we could even do it almost. I don't know whether that's past 66%, but if you just move your screen back so we can see that low from back in June, that sure looks to me like an AB equals CD. You know, right, and here, we do have three higher lows there, so I don't know whether it's
like something
beyond,
like this.
Yep, there to there, and then clone that and project that off of the lows. I think that's totally realistic, believe it or not.
Right up to 310.
Especially if you draw like a trend line off of those recent peaks. It probably even gives you a destination date. And it'd be really cool, like if you could draw a trend line off of those, the peak from April and then the peak from late July, early August. No, just leave that trend line where it was, right? But just take your new trend line, just a new trend line, and draw it off of those peaks and just play connect the dots. But that's okay. Why don't you finish your presentation? Maybe
I'll finish it and then you can show it at the end. I think it's better that you just show it. So yeah, this could be the start of a new rally. I mean, my RSI is saying buy, basically buy now. So I'm gonna wait a little bit for a retrace. I'm definitely not looking at any shorts here, that's for sure. And if I had a short, I'd probably close it. I'm going to for a little bit of a retrace, see if I can get in a little bit lower. Maybe we'll come back to 295 or something, and then we'll take off. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, this is the start of a new like mini bull run. This is a very powerful signal when this happens, and I've been kind of waiting to see if this was going to happen. You can see how this whole from beginning of July, we kind of had the end of July, we had this confirmed breakdown and bear divergence, and then we just were waffling down here. And there was no way I could take a long trade until we broke out, and now we kind of broke out of the range. So don't be surprised if over the next week this just like rallies straight up to 310. I'm hoping for a little bit of pullback, but it might not happen. So we got to see. If you want, you could even nibble a little bit here. I'm considering, maybe nibbling a call or two. But I haven't decided yet because part of me is hoping for the retrace. The problem is that when this breakout happens, sometimes you don't get the retrace. It'll just go straight up. And Wall Street's thinking like, look, we already gave you these bottoms back here. Here's your W already. Here's your confirmation level. And here's your breakout of the W on price action and on RSI. But the RSI confirmation was boom, W here. Here's your kind of confirmation, but you see how they retrace, faked you out. And then here's your next one. So here would have been your buy level. Like this would have been like your buy level with a risk to maybe down here. You would have done something like this. Let's see. Something like this with a stop here. And then you would have gone, you could do long to the ABCD here, but it's just barely a 2-to-1, which I usually like to have a better risk reward, but it's a trade, and it's a trade you could have taken. The problem for me is I really needed to see it move above this trend line decisively, but you see what happens when it does. You get this major breakout, and then it's like, crap, well, I missed out on a big move, and then you don't know if it's going to retrace or not. So that's my thoughts on the S&P. Woohoo bull, that's probably going to make Mr. Trump very happy. It makes sense that it happened. Like Brian talked about, all the global events that are going on. These are a big deal. The Hong Kong resolution especially, I think, was a big deal. And of course, we've got the trade talk thing. That's a huge deal. I actually watched like 2 documentaries today. Not documentaries, but like YouTube videos where this guy, he did a really good job. He broke down exactly what's going on with the U.S.-China trade war, and then he did another one where he broke down what was going on with why Huawei was banned, and saying that it's not so much about the phones and like a national security thing like they're saying. He's saying it's more about the race to 5G, and apparently there's a lot of money on the line for the first country to get to 5G, and Huawei is presenting a real threat to other countries, and especially the United States, with the race to 5G technology. And this whole like China versus US thing is not about so much like China taking more money from the US with the trade imbalance. It's more so about preventing China from becoming the world superpower, where they want to do the Made in China 2050. Is it 2050, Brian, or was it 2050 Made in China? 2025, yeah. That's what it's really about. But obviously the market likes when these things start to reach a resolution. But me personally, I think it's just fluff to get the market to go higher. I think this has a lot to do with Brian, did you see that like the Fed is buying in the market again?
Yeah, I think they announced in their last minutes that they were going to go back into doing QE.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening here. I think this has a lot to do with QE. And these like news things are just coming out to kind of like justify it. But I think this has a lot to do with QE happening, and Mr. Trump's kind of like rhetoric getting to the Fed chairman finally, and the Fed being like, look, this is a way to boost the stock market to make him happy and to say that the economy is still doing well in the midst of this trade war. So then he can keep saying like US is winning. I think that's what's happening as like a little bit of a behind the scenes in my viewpoint on what's going on in the world. Okay. Any other questions on the S&P? If not, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our favorite meat company, Beyond Meat, and their fake meat products. We'll look at that, and then we're gonna jump in a little bit on currencies and metals, and then we'll go into Bitcoin. So, any S&P questions? Let's see. Chat. It's all about the money. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it is all about the money, Murat. Always follow the money. That's money makes the world go round. Okay, Beyond Meat. So we hit a 9 on the TD right here. Well, actually, did we look at the TD? No, yeah, it's just at a 5. That's why I didn't pay attention to it. So we're at a 9, so it makes sense that it paused here. And we're below, we're kind of like teetering in the middle of the VIP trend line. I still am looking for this gap to get filled. So let's see what happens. Let me check the 4-hour. See if we got any kind of trade setups here. Boop, boop. I don't really have that much, but if I do, let's do add a fib. Okay, we can see we're at 61.8. You know, that
Fib's
is our
backwards.
shorting area. What's that, Brian?
Fib is backwards.
Well, don't I want to make it like this if I want to draw my shorting zone? I mean, I can do it the other way, but then it's going to look like here. I don't really like it that way because then it's telling me I need to buy down here, but I want to look at where I'm going to short.
Then you draw it off of that most recent low from probably middle of August.
Yeah, but I sometimes on these like newer companies, I like to just start from the beginning.
Well, that's not exactly the way you do fibs, but that's okay. We'll call this Julian's interpretation of fibs.
My interpretation of fibs. I mean, we can do it the other way. Let's see what it looks like. Right here, you talking about?
Yep. And then flip your fibs
All
around.
right, flip it.
And
Okay,
there's
so
your
that puts you
shorting
in the
window.
200
Look at that
area.
big old gap up there too, eh?
Yeah, there's this big gap up here. So maybe that does make more sense. Regardless, I don't have a trade yet.
Yeah,
like to
we're
kind of
right
look
now
at
we're
it.
resolving Mr. Burchett's level, and actually it kind of looks like a little inverted head and shoulders that's forming here. So if we accept back above 38.2s there, it'd probably zip right up and fill in the gap up top. I guess the question
And
I would
then
have for
look
this
at
guy
shorts.
is, do they have new products coming out? Do they have new deals that they're going to sign with new grocery stores and that kind of stuff? That's what's probably going to drive this thing.
Yeah, there will probably be maybe some big news event that sends it up, cut out the shorts,
I
and
heard
then maybe we
Colleen
can
is
finally roll
absolutely in
over.
love with Beyond Meat products.
What's that?
I saw in the lounge the other day, Colleen mentioned that she tried the Beyond Meat burger and went, nah, well, it's there. And I think that's probably what's happening with a lot of people in the world. I don't know whether Colleen's on the call here. I thought I saw her earlier. Sorry, ma'am, if I was just poking fun at you. But yeah, anyways, it was the taco at Del Taco, right? So I think what's happening now is you're getting a whole bunch of buying of this product because people are just curious. Well, what the hell is this thing? What does it taste like? And
Yeah,
and as Colleen's sort of writing away here in the lounge, you people on YouTube can see her comments. I get the impression a lot of people that try it go, oh, well, okay, it's there. You know, it's not like I'm gonna go buy Beyond Meat futures because this thing's absolutely the next best thing since sliced bread.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
I just
this
like
is
to keep an eye on it.
probably this is probably one of these sort of like flavor of the month kind of ideas. Once sort of the euphoria. I mean, you know what's really interesting? Tesla is a good example of goes absolutely euphoric, and now we're going through the period of okay, well, can this company really survive?
Yeah.
If you throw up DDD, we were looking at that. Casey, great call on that DDT, by the way.
What is DDT? What is that?
3Ds.
3Ds.
It's 3D systems. They're the printer, 3D printing, and of course it was all
Okay.
the rage, and the stock went absolutely insane up. And now it's just a fraction of the price it was at the top of the market. And my hunch is the Beyond Meat story probably plays out the same way.
Yeah.
But all right, you want to
Well,
take a look at Tesla here?
I wanted to take a quick look at Tesla, and I'll tell you why. It's an interesting story, and the only reason is because, wait for it. Why do you think, Brian?
Because
Take a guess.
you are infatuated with Elon Musk. I don't know.
I'm not infatuated, but it is because of him. He is quite the character. I watched an Did anybody hear about how he went to China, and he was able to get the tariffs removed for Tesla in China apparently because he went there and like talked to them. But then also he was at a artificial intelligence conference about the future of artificial intelligence, and he did a talk with Jack Ma, and Jack Ma is like the head of Alibaba.
Not anymore.
Well, okay, not anymore, but he started Alibaba, right? He was like the founder or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know whether you watched that interview. There's some guy who's saying that Jack Ma's got his days are numbered. But anyway, we'll see.
yeah, I don't know
Fingers
what
crossed for the guy.
happened.
I sure hope he doesn't get whacked.
I don't know what happened to him, but if you listen in the interview, he I don't understand why people thought he was a smart guy. He doesn't sound he doesn't sound like he knows what he's talking about at all. It was a really interesting interview, and I think everyone should listen to it if you have even a little bit of interest in the future of artificial intelligence and how
Can you
humans work
post
with
that?
machines.
Was it like a YouTube video? Can you post it in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lounge for
I
us?
can post it after the presentation. I don't
Sure.
want to go onto YouTube and look for it now, but
Yeah.
I can definitely post it. I thought it was so interesting to see like does Jack Ma really represent the view of China, or is that just Jack Ma? Because basically what he was saying is that, oh, artificial intelligence is nothing to worry about. Oh, humans invented machines, so we will always be smarter. We will know what is good and what is bad. And we don't have to worry about machines. That's basically what he was saying. And Elon Musk was like, famous last words.
Yeah.
And then he tried to get jabs in. Oh my God, I couldn't believe this one thing he said. He said, one of the biggest mistakes of smart people that I found is smart people assuming they're smart. I was like, oh
You
my
know
God,
what
he
they
just said
say,
that.
assuming does.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. So yeah, I suggest everyone to watch it. I thought it was an interesting interview. And it makes me realize like Elon Musk kind of, even if Tesla and electric cars kind of fall off a little bit, I think this guy knows what he's doing, and he knows the right moves to make sometimes, even if, sometimes in a way, sort of like Trump. He reminds me of Trump a little bit because sometimes on Twitter he gets in trouble, right? He says the wrong things,
Yeah,
but
he definitely speaks his mind.
he speaks his mind.
I noticed that looking at your Tesla chart here, to me, like if you change that to like a weekly chart, we're staring at a big fat M.
Yeah, let's look at the weekly.
So this thing is cleaning itself up. There's no doubt about it.
It's cleaning itself up. Obviously, we had the euphoria here, 400, Tesla's going to 1,000, blah, blah, blah. And now we've kind of got like, this is the aftermath. Like, look at this. It's totally bearish on a weekly chart.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
look at
on
that.
the other side, if it's got to recapture that trend line. If it can, then there might be a nice serious rally right back up top. I noticed
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
and
all it'll take is like them to be like, oh, we found some new battery technology,
yeah,
and now we can make them half the size, charge twice as fast, and
yeah.
oh, by the cars way, the cars are cheaper, and then that's it. Tesla's going to the moon.
I think Joshua, you're still a fan of Tesla. He's driving it all over LA, and I think it helps him out quite a bit. The stock I'd be most interested in, especially with him coming back from and doing his thing in China, is that NIO, because that's sort of like China's proxy on the electric vehicle market. And you
Hmm.
wonder, right? This is China's sort of play. You wonder whether, in exchange for giving him permission to sell in China and all that, whether Mr. Monks has to hand over his technology to that NIO company.
He probably did.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was something that went on there, without a doubt. I'm not gonna assume though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of getting, so that's the viewpoint on Tesla. It's still a bear in the weekly chart, I think so, but it's putting up a bit of a divergence here. Actually, it's not a divergence; it's the same. So we'll see what happens. I'll try to keep an eye on it. Let's. There's nothing really to look at in the options. Why don't we jump into the currency? You kind of already talked about. I was going to talk about the dollar, but you kind of already talked about it.
Well, you can
Um,
tell us what's on your mind. What are you seeing?
well, this is a weekly chart. For me, it's kind of like in a range still. I
Yeah,
don't see it.
Josh wants you to close your Telegram because we're hearing the beeps of it, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Okay, hold on. Okay. And then my phone's vibrating too, so let me try to.
Joshua says all the things that I can't say.
Oh, you can say
Joshua
them.
correctly pointed out that I was backseat driving your charts. I love Josh. This guy's such a character. So I'll refrain from backseat driving.
But Josh, it's so much more fun when he tries to take over. Then I get to like fight him a little bit. All right, so let me just jump through this. We only got like 10 minutes, so let me just Brian.
Take your time. There's
take a
no
break,
hurry.
go
Take
on
your
mute.
time. Take your time.
So on DXY, we can see these two RSI trend lines are coming to a head. So this thing's got to break sometime this fall, and it's going to break to the upside or the downside. Like you kind of said, Brian, it's probably more to the downside. The US's time is numbered, but it's still a safe haven asset. So if something breaks, like goes to hell in the world, I still think until something critical changes, I still think people are going to use the dollar as a safe haven, and they're gonna rush into the dollar. So if there is no change in this current system we're in, I think and there is a crisis, I think the dollar will jump higher. And I want to get into that in relation to gold, because the dollar right now is considered a safe haven fear asset, right? So is gold, but the problem with gold is that it is also a safe haven asset, but if you trade gold in dollars, you may not make nearly as much of a profit versus if you trade it in like euros or another currency that's not considered a safe haven asset. So if you're trading gold on the long side, as a safe haven asset, I suggest using something like the euro or anything that's not a safe haven asset. I wouldn't suggest using the US dollar. If you want to short gold, maybe using the US dollar is not. Actually, the same thing will happen in the reverse direction. So I would suggest trading in another asset that's not the US dollar version of gold, because you're going to have to deal with the huge fluctuations in the US dollar with it being the safe haven asset. So that's just something I've noticed with trading gold
Man,
recently.
that
over the past
RSI
month.
looks like a train wreck.
Oh yeah, so we got this huge breakdown here.
What's
If this
your
doesn't
what's your
recover,
gold guy saying about that? Jesus, that looks horrible.
well, so just so you guys know, I kind of follow this guy who's considered himself like an expert on gold trading, and he runs like a gold trading room that I've been like testing and just watching. We might have him on the daily brief at some point, because he's a pretty smart guy, but he's also kind of like a wild west trader. So he bought this dip. He's in at like 15.15 or something. He thinks it's going to reverse. But it's got, where's my time? I'm not showing my time, but my Telegram's blowing up because of him. He's texting about what he thinks about gold. Right now, he thinks it's going to reverse higher. But if we close down here, if we don't rally, this is a serious breakdown of the RSI trend line on the daily. And this is serious damage. So I think he's unsure, because literally like an hour ago, he was like, oh, gold definitely topped, prepare for the $100 retrace down to 1430 or whatever. But then, just like 15 minutes ago, he was like, oh, we're going to go long gold here with a stop loss at like 1500. So I don't know. I don't think he even knows what's happening right now.
Maybe he should build a trading plan and actually build setups. Wouldn't that be a cool idea?
I think he has like a general trading plan, but it's definitely not like a strict robot type. It's more like he goes by, because he's been trading it for so long, he just uses what he remembers happening in the past.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I'm watching him and testing. So I watched him take a $20,000 account up to 60,000 and then run it back down to almost 20,000 again.
Oh,
So-
goodness.
Yeah. So it's something I'm watching. I think he's a smart guy, but we'll see ultimately what happens. So again, right now it doesn't look good, but we haven't closed for the day yet. This bar hasn't closed. We could reverse and go back into this RSI, and then boom, we're back in a range.
Are you allowed to
Wait.
talk about your secret gold indicator Joshua's making reference to here, or is that super top secret?
What is he talking about? No, there's no secret gold. No. That doesn't exist. We don't talk about that. There's no secret
It doesn't exist.
gold indicator. Be quiet. Can we kick him
Shh.
out of the room? Do we have like admin authority? How do we boot him?
Now, Joshua, you get yourself into
He's
hot
he's
water
getting
here.
himself in trouble. Man, those British people, they just love to start drama. All right, so let's look at the 4 hour really quick. This is such a crazy show.
He's just a troublemaker. That's all that guy is.
He is, and I'm only being nice to him because he helped us so much with those videos, and he is occasionally funny, just occasionally. Okay, 4 hour chart is a mess. Obviously, I can't even like trade off of this really. It's just like up and down. You can see how it's just like bouncing around in this range here. It's like ping pong, boom, 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 and watch the 4 hour could retrace here. I mean, watch it retrace back to 1430 or 1530. I mean, if it does that, then boom, this guy's crazy long trade worked out, and he looks
It's
like a
still,
genius.
what bothers me is you can't, you know, you can continue along this, and then you take one punch in the nose, and psychologically you've done just a world of damage. So I think everybody at TRI, let's hunt those setups.
No,
If
I
this
totally
gentleman
agree.
can
I'm just,
actually articulate a setup, I'd love to hear what the setup is. But often with these guys, it's sort of like, well, I'm just watching as we go, and that's dangerous. So
yeah.
that's my contribution. That's all I'll say. So anyway.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't have a trade. I'm not taking a trade. I'm watching. Let's see how this resolves. This is really crazy. I mean, it went from 1550 to 1510. Let me tell you, if you're trading this on leverage, that's a huge move in gold. That's thousands of dollars right there. Even with just like one lot of gold, which one lot of gold is considered $150,000. But I know people with 5K accounts that are trading one lot of gold, which they shouldn't be. I think you should trade like zero point 0.1 lots per $2,000 or something like that. Something really low. But yeah, so let's see how this resolves. It really depends on this 4 hour candle. If this recovers all the way up to 1530, then we could be back in the range. But if it stays down here, then yeah, I think it's the bear starting. We finally put in the top.
What would happen if you threw on your chart just XAU, the gold stocks?
Yep, I got it right here. This one?
Okay.
You mean XAUEUR?
No, that's gold versus the euro. I'm just talking about gold stocks because, like, I noticed the gold
XAU?
stocks,
This?
they put in a really nasty double top here.
This one?
Yep,
Which one?
that one.
This one?
Yep. So that bothers me immensely, right? In fact, your RSI study, it's been in divergence for quite a while now. Interesting.
Yeah, and then if we go here, yeah, see how it really broke.
Yeah. So me personally, I like to follow things like the
Yeah.
currencies,
It looks like a
Australian
bear.
dollar, South African rand, Canadian dollar, and then follow like the actual companies in the business, and they're sending a pretty cautionary message here.
Yeah, it looks like a serious bear to me. I would say.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
just
think
look at the
I'll
price
be
action.
surprised
I
if
don't know
this
whether we
recovers.
made a new high there, but that looks very emmy to me up top there.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
And then your
notice how we hit our
RSI looks like a
9.
big fat.
We hit
M
our
too.
9. Here's our 9 on the TD.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
So,
what's going to happen here, but I really hope TRIers got the message that going long these metals up top here is just asking for trouble.
no, yeah, but I do think long term, once we get a retrace, it will be a good idea to long metals. I think we're gonna start hitting some kind of long term bull.
Well, the problem here is
Again,
if you go
up here
back
is
to your
bad.
gold chart, I mean, just pull up your like a weekly gold chart. And everybody should look at this. Do a fib. I mean, on a weekly basis, RSI readings getting overbought. That's a little bit dangerous unto itself. But zoom right out. I mean, let's look at the entire range, right? You got to put all of this into context, right? We're looking at the weekly charts. This is a bit longer term. Um, now do a fib from those lows back up to the highs, and look where we are. So
Right. I read it. I think we're right at 61.8 or something, right?
we're getting pretty darn close. You got to flip them around, go the other direction.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna stick to what my bread and butter. I would argue that we don't really have a new bull market in gold until we actually print a new high here. And we're coming into levels here where institutions would be more than happy to give the public all the gold that they want. So, just if anything, what I do like is a nice little pullback here. Seasonally, we showed that chart of what seasonally should happen here. Could we like sort of play around up here for the next month? Sure. Seasonal trough into sort of October, November. Set up your nice little counter trend rally, big bull market heading into Jupiter Saturn cross next summer. But I'm not, like it's everything that I teach in the school program. I can't really get too overly bullish of commodities. And looking at that gold chart, to me, that gold chart's just rallying into a shorting window. So
Yeah.
be careful here, people. I mean, it's your money. You do with it as you please. But I don't subscribe to that newsletter.
I was just giving you an update on what he's saying. I don't have a trade on
No.
full
I mean, I
disclosure.
just that metals are going to new highs and that everything's going to be all rah bull and you're all going to make a fortune being long gold.
I mean,
I don't subscribe to that newsletter. So.
okay.
Nice trade,
Well,
though.
we'll see what
No doubt
happens.
about it. You know what? The market that's really hot right now is platinum. I was just shocked at that platinum chart. And look how far platinum's got to come back. So I was even challenging site people to go and look at, see if we can find platinum companies.
There we go.
That thing's got some room to run. I mean, look
Is that
how
a
this
month?
thing used to be like $2,500 an ounce.
Why did it go down so much?
Just out of favor, probably because Russia controls a huge chunk of this market. That kind of stuff.
Wow, yeah, look at this. In the monthly, it's like completely broken out of all of my RSI downtrends.
Oh, I love that platinum. So I don't know if we can find, proxies in the platinum industry, but I think platinum could outperform here.
Oh, wow. Oh. Okay. It's something, looks like something nice to consider longing. Okay, so that's enough on metals. I think I just wanted to show, we can quickly do the Thai bot on the
Sure.
weekly.
Thai bot.
Again, this thing's so strong. It's so ridiculous. Like, they're supposed to be like a tourist exporting country. They don't want a strong currency. It's the worst thing that can happen. So they're trying to figure out like all these things to do to lower it. But apparently in Asia, there's like huge demand for this currency. It's like considered like the safe haven currency.
That's because all
But-
those Boeing people are moving to Thailand.
I know. Boeing should pay those people better so they don't leave. But if you look at it here on the weekly, we're about to break
somebody
out.
posted in the lounge, platinum mining stocks, companies, prices, and news. Thank you, whoever did that.
Just let me try to get through this.
Yeah,
So-
my apologies. I should probably just mute myself. Please
It's
continue,
okay.
sir.
It's okay. Yeah. So it's looking like it's going to reverse here. I mean, we've got divergence. So here's this one, and here's this one, lower low, or like a low in price, but a higher high in RSI, or a higher low. So if we can break higher, then the Thai baht will finally head lower, and that will be good, very good for the Thai economy and the tourism industry here, and the exporters. Because right now it's just ridiculously strong compared to all the other currencies. I mean, it's amazing that the U.S. dollar rallied, and yet the Thai baht still increased in strength versus the U.S. dollar. So imagine, if we let's look at the Thai baht compared to the British pound. This is so crazy. Oh wait, let me do it the other way. Look at this.
That's the
So-
British pound versus the U.S. dollar?
Oh, whoops. Well, it lost a lot there too. It used to be $2 back in 2007. Now it's only $1.23.
Yeah, that's because those Josh guys, they're all rah
I know.
Brexit.
I know. Look at what they did. So look at this. Back in just 2004, you got in Thailand, you were like super rich. You got 74 baht for 1 British pound. Now you only get 37. Even back just 2016. Look at you got 55 Thai baht, 56 for 1 British pound. Now 37. It's a massive difference in purchasing power of British people in Thailand. And of course, there's been inflation here too. So Thailand is not the cheap, safe haven, wonderful place that it used to be. I mean, I still love it, but it's definitely not as good as it was. And I know some people here that have been here a long time that are very grumpy now because of what's happening. They've already documented some data of losing Chinese tourists because the Thai baht versus the Chinese yuan, is getting. Look at this. It's so much more expensive for Chinese people to come here now. Back in 2015, they got 5.7 Thai baht for every Chinese yuan. Now it's only 420. And look at this big change just in the past couple of weeks. So hopefully they'll turn it around. Things will get a little bit cheaper. But in the U.S. dollar versus Thai baht chart, it looks like it is going to be turning around soon. So I just want to talk about that quick. Okay. The important thing, Bitcoin, save the best for last. So, you can see I have Bollinger Bands on the RSI on this chart. This is a little bit of like an idea stolen from Sjorn. He likes to use Bollinger Bands with RSI. And what he found is that before moves in the market, usually Bollinger Bands consolidate or, squeeze. So you can see here back in July and beginning of August, and this is a daily chart, we had a big squeeze in Bollinger Bands. See how they compressed right here? And then, boom, it just took off. And you had this move and this was right during our meetup, right? So, everybody got in at 9,400 and then it rallied all the way. Well, no, it's not. This wasn't was this during our meetup, Brian? Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that was the trade. Everybody was running around going, look at my setup, look at my setup. Oh, yeah, we're all going to get rich.
That was the trade. That was the trade.
Yeah.
You basically could have bought anywhere here and made money. That was an epic trade. That was so fun. And then look how we hit the TD mark on the 9 and we just went down from there. By the way, these purple trend lines are trend lines I drew. One of them, I think this one's from a while back. Yeah. So I drew this from like just this past, year. So we came down and touched that trend line. But the cool thing is, look at this. So these are my two RSI lines here, red. I really should keep my colors consistent. Let me fix this. But for this, let me change them to blue. I don't know why they're red here. Sorry about that, guys. Totally not professional. Okay, so you can see, look at what they did. This is how crazy the Bitcoin market is. So we had this uptrend that I drew here, and look at how they did like this. It's like this fake out, and they ran the price down here, stopped everyone out. Everyone probably had stops down to even here. 9,479 was the low. And then they ran it down here, stopped a bunch of people out, and then reversed it. And now we're reversing past my RSI downtrend line, and we actually closed above it. So I'm looking like if we get a reversal, I hope we touch here, and then I'm gonna start hunting some longs. I want to see a move back to 10,000, which is obviously the 50% level of the entire range we've talked about in the past. And I might start looking at some longs if I can get a decent setup on the lower time frames, because this is a big deal, this breakout. But we didn't cross above the VIP line, so that means there's potential it was a false breakout. But I don't think so. Normally when this happens with Bitcoin ends up rallying. So I want to see how this resolves. But for me right now, I'm tentatively turning bullish on Bitcoin on the daily chart. Let's look at the weekly really quick. And the only reason I'm concerned is because the Bitcoin dominance index is getting like so ridiculous. Isn't it like 73 right now, Brian? 73%?
Yeah, I think it broke out to new highs.
Yeah, it's totally crazy.
The dominator keeps dominating.
Yeah.
And really, I might argue, like I just got another letter from Bittrex saying they're delisting a whole bunch more coins. So as long as this
Yeah,
theme continues and there's all this sort of uncertainty around Binance and all that, as long as that is the general tone of the market, I think that dominator just keeps dominating.
yeah. No, I mean, it makes, in that context, yeah, it makes perfect sense. On the weekly, I have this downtrend, but I also have like this is above the VIP level. So technically it's still in a bullish trend as far as I'm concerned, and it could just be consolidating. It could be our consolidation before a move higher.
Yep.
I'm not as uber bearish on Bitcoin as I was a week to 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna be watching this to see what happens. We've got to wait.
And
I
I guess
wouldn't
would you interpret the Tom DeMark thing there as sort of just it's flip flopping? It's really undecided now because
You
I
mean on the
see like
weekly?
1 kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just flip flopping. It's ranging.
Yeah, and if you just draw a nice little triangle off of that chart, I mean, I agree. And what my message of late has been is we're just parked in a trading range.
Yeah,
And
a
really,
big trading range.
a lot of times in the market, you end up trying to push. I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff. Oh, this is it. We're going straight up. I don't think you can really draw any of those conclusions just as of yet. I think we're still very much just in a trading range.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I mean, I
coming
like
to a
what I'm
head
seeing
here.
with this trend line here.
Yeah. And as
So
I
if
sort
we
of
can
said
break out.
before, what I would prefer, kind of like what you're talking about, is let's get on the other side of this trend line. Then let's have a nice little pullback that creates a W. And if we can get a W on the other side of this trend line, then I think we can start getting like Uber Bull.
Exactly. I think the next 2 weeks are going to be really important.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch closely.
Okay, well that's probably a
It's,
good
it's almost
note
like
to
we
end.
should do a show every day on this.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad idea.
I know somebody should do that.
Okay, well, on that note,
Um,
why don't we, do we want to wrap up here today? We are well past the top of the hour. Did you
well,
want
the
to
last
talk
thing I
about
just want to
alts
end with
just
is
yet?
alts. Unfortunately, still look like poo.
Yeah, I think that's the basic message.
I think feel like a broken record every week. How are alts looking?
Like poo.
Pretty crappy. Like poo.
And here's the message, folks. Hopefully, what you've gotten over the past like 6 months, right? Try not to push a chain. It's impossible. This thing will turn when it turns. I mean, you can see Julian's RSI is oversold. You can see his stochastic is buried and oversold. You can see that maybe we're painting divergence on MACD, potential divergence now. We have to wait for all of these things to start Wing and start pointing back up, and then we can start getting optimistic. But don't push a chain here, folks. Just don't. It's not in your best interest. I do absolutely love Colin's sort of approach. Find individual stories that they've got their own FA drivers and hunt setups. I saw somebody was asking about Wabi the other day. It's enjoying a really nice rally here. But that's the type of market state we're in. Is the altcoin market just throw on a blindfold and throw darts at a dartboard and you're going to make money? No, that is not this type of market right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Okay, as I said, we're well past the top of the hour. I think you did an awesome presentation today. Great
I
stuff,
think you
as
did an
always.
awesome job taking my steering wheel sometimes.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
I still got that backseat driver's license on me. Unfortunately, he's pulled me over to the side of the road. He's having a nice polite talk with me about etiquette while through baby powder reports, but
Yeah,
we're working
British
on
etiquette. Yeah.
it. So yeah, on balance, I think you did a great job here today. I love the value that we're giving the community. Love the unique perspective that you have. It's very refreshing. It's a different look. And just, slow and steady wins the race for everybody. And let's really try and vet those setups and find your 3 unrelated reasons for considering taking trades. Hopefully, I think we do have the Tom DeMark tutorial in the library. So if you are
We
interested
do.
in working
Yep.
with that, awesome. Hopefully we have some more, tutorials and stuff on some of the tools that you're using coming down the pike. So just, keep your eyes open for that kind of stuff down the road. And just keep filling out your tool belt, everybody. Really, the bottom line for all of this is you just got to figure out what works for you, what speaks to you, what are the three unrelated reasons that you really like to use. And what I like about Julian's report is he has a very unique, very personal approach to his trading. It's a different flavor. Brian has his own approach, very different. And really, at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way to trade. And what tools you use, it really all comes down to personal fit. And like I said, I really like your unique approach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we leave it at that for today? Thank you very much for the report, Julian. Kevin and I will head off and do the summary video now. As I said, if we have any Silver Site members and you want to get in on that competition on the the raffle for a level 1 seat, be sure to check out today's Daily Brief recap and mark your name down on the comments so we can add them to the list. All right, Mr. Kvarkinator, Duke of Albuquerque, what do you think? Did we give these people some half decent value today?
Yes, definitely a nice conversation, you guys.
Excellent. Good job. All right. So we've got the Duke's blessing. Why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.
Bye, everybody.